Well, is Trump becoming a real strong man or what? He is now threatening to pull U.S. support for Israel if they annex the West Bank. But here's the thing. They already have. They just don't call it that. I'm going to show you what I mean. But first, let me explain what set Trump off to the point where he's actually threatening to cut Israel off. Yesterday, the Knesset, while J.D. Vance was still in the country, voted to annex the West Bank. Let me show you what J.D. Vance had to say about that.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll do. Yeah.
The West Bank vote yesterday that took place while you were in the country.
Oh, yeah, that was weird. I was sort of confused by that. Now, I actually asked somebody about it, and they told me that it was a symbolic vote, some symbolic vote to recognize or a symbolic vote to annex the West Bank. I mean, what I would say to that is when I asked about it, somebody told me that it was a political stunt, that it had no practical significance. It was purely symbolic. I mean, look, if it was a political stunt, it was a very stupid political stunt, and I personally take some insult to it. The West Bank is not going to be annexed by Israel. The policy of the Trump administration is that the West Bank will not be annexed by Israel. That will continue to be our policy. And if people want to take symbolic votes, they can do that. But we certainly weren't happy about it.
Thank you.
You know, I didn't think it could happen to me, but just recently, someone stole my information and actually bought a car under my name in Texas. While I was standing in the Idaho DMV getting my new driver's license, a thief was driving off the dealer lot pretending to be me. And I only caught it because I was getting bombarded with alerts. Now imagine if I hadn't seen them in time. And this is exactly why today's sponsor, Aura, matters. If you've ever wondered how scammers get your personal info, your phone number, your address, even where you supposedly work, it's because of data brokers. These shady companies collect your data and sell it to anyone, from marketers to scammers, and they make billions doing it. They don't ask your permission. And while they're legally required to remove your info if you ask, they make the process nearly impossible on purpose. Believe me, I'm going through it right now. But if I had Aura set up before, this thief would have had a much harder time. Aura automatically scans and scrubs your information from those data broker sites, and then it keeps it off. It also gives you real-time fraud alerts, so instead of finding out a day later that someone used your name, you get notified right away. That's the kind of tool I wish I had in place when all of this happened. But Aura is more than just removing your data from shady brokers. It's an all-in-one digital security app. It alerts you if your personal info is found on the dark web. It monitors your credit and bank accounts in real time. It gives you a secure VPN, password manager, antivirus, and more. And if something does happen, Aura covers you with up to $5 million in identity theft insurance and 24/7 US-based fraud support. The fact that companies profit off of our stolen data while we're left vulnerable is outrageous. I learned that the hard way. But I'm not leaving myself unprotected anymore, and you shouldn't either. Protect yourself and your family with Aura. Try it free for 14 days at aura.com/Kim Iverson. And in just 2 weeks, Aura will show you where your personal data is being exposed and start scrubbing it off the internet automatically. Again, that's aura.com/Kim Iverson. Was it symbolic, though? Was it? No, actually, it wasn't. It very well could turn into law. So what happened yesterday was that the Knesset decided to vote in favor of annexing the West Bank. This is the story from the Times of Israel. In an embarrassment to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, right-wing lawmakers voted on Wednesday to pass, in its preliminary reading, a bill that would apply Israeli sovereignty to all West Bank settlements, as well as another more limited bill to annex a major city settlement, despite opposition from Netanyahu and most of his Likud party to announcing such a move at this time. Remember that it said that. So Netanyahu is like, I'm against this. I can't believe this. This is just these right-wing ministers who are right-wing Knesset members, he's on the right. These are his coalition members. And he's saying, this is just not the right time. This is just an embarrassment. Yeah, okay, not the right time. So not now, but maybe tomorrow, guys. Today is not the day, is what he's saying. But he's not saying never. It's not going to happen. That's Palestinian land. That is not what Netanyahu is saying at all. Saying it's just not good to announce something like this at this time. Says all but one Likud member boycotted the votes. MK Yuli Edelstein broke ranks to vote in favor, casting a decisive vote and helping the bill to annex all settlements scrape by 25-24. In a statement, Edelstein said that he supported the measure because, quote, Israeli sovereignty in all parts of our homeland is the order of the day and called on all Zionist factions to vote in favor. So this is their agenda. They absolutely, they passed this. This is a preliminary vote. So it's just like what we have in our government. This is a preliminary vote. It has to go through 3 more times. But if it goes through 3 more times and passes each time, which it would because most of the members of the Knesset are in favor of annexing the West Bank, then it becomes the law. So it's not actually really symbolic. They're telling us flat out what their intentions are. Trump is trying not to listen to that. I understand he doesn't want to be embarrassed. That would absolutely piss off all of the Arab nations. In fact, Trump gave an interview to Time magazine, and this is where he said, yeah, if they do this, they're cut off. That's it. But you know what? What does Israel have to do? They just have to wait, 3 more years, roughly, and then they get somebody else in. This is the question from the reporter from the Times, from Time magazine, sorry. You told Netanyahu you will not allow him to annex the West Bank. There are still forces in his coalition who are pressing for it. I'm just wondering what are the consequences if they move forward? And Trump says, it won't happen. It won't happen. It won't happen because I gave my word to the Arab countries, and you can't do that now. We've had great Arab support. It won't happen because I gave my word to the Arab countries. It will not happen. Israel would lose all of its support from the United States if that happened. That is what Trump is saying. So he promised the Arab nations, we're not going to allow that to happen. And so he's saying it's just not going to happen. But I'm going to show you, he's made some other promises, I think. And I think that the Miriam Adelsons of the world who donated $200 million or something to his campaign so that he would move the embassy to Jerusalem and also annex the West Bank, I think that this crowd that pushed for Trump to get in, for the crowd that made him the most pro-Israel president in the history of the country, I think that they're being given something else. And I'm going to show you that. I think they are still being given Gaza. Despite what is being told to us, that Gaza, the Palestinians are going to be allowed to return, that's not really true. Despite all of them saying, no, the Palestinians, it's going to be their land, they can come back to it. I'm going to show you how that's not true. And I think what they've done is they've said, now is not the time with the West Bank. I'm giving you Gaza. Start there. In 3 years when I'm gone, then you can go after the West Bank. But they're already going after the West Bank, and I'm going to show you that as well. But Trump, this is not the first time that he said he's not going to allow Israel to annex the West Bank. So he's doubling down on this one. If you remember this is from September 25th when he said not going to allow them to annex the West Bank.
But did you promise leaders this week that you would not allow Israel to annex the West Bank? Is that something that you...
I will not allow Israel to annex the West Bank. No, I will not allow it. It's not going to happen.
Did you speak with Netanyahu about this directly?
Yeah, but I'm not going to allow it. Whether I spoke to him or not, I did. But I'm not allowing Israel to annex the West Bank. There's been enough. It's time to stop now, okay?
Okay. So we're making it look like we're in charge again. It says, we're not letting the tail wag the dog. We are the dog, we wag the tail. That is what Trump is trying to say. But we're going to see in the end who ends up winning, because I'm going to bet Israel. I'm going to bet that they've done enough blackmail, bribery, brainwashing in this country, and they've got enough levers of control inside the country. I'm going to bet that they still went out on this one. And I think they know it, which is why they're not totally freaking out. Netanyahu did come out and denounce the Knesset vote, saying the Knesset vote on annexation was a deliberate political provocation by the opposition to sow discord during Vice President J.D. Vance's visit to Israel. The two bills were sponsored by opposition members of the Knesset. The Likud party and the religious parties, the principal coalition members, did not vote for these bills except for one disgruntled Likud member who was recently fired from the chairmanship of a Knesset committee. Without Likud support, these bills are unlikely to go anywhere. Okay, so he's running cover, but at the end of the day, him and his ilk absolutely have every desire to annex the West Bank. In fact, here is Smotrich. We did have to dub this for you in English, but he's saying to Saudi Arabia, you know what? If you want normalization, because this is what Trump's talking about, I promised the Arab nations, and they said that they'll normalize with Israel if I don't allow them to annex the West Bank. So we'll take the normalization. And Smotrich is saying, oh yeah, you know what? You can keep your camels and your normalization. We want the West Bank. Watch this.
If Saudi Arabia tells us normalization in exchange for a Palestinian state, friends, no, thank you. keep riding camels on the sand in the desert in Saudi Arabia. We will continue to truly develop with economy and society and a state and all the great and wonderful things we know how to do. The relief called the State of Israel is the State of Israel in all its borders. That will never establish a Palestinian state.
So there is no desire from the members of his coalition, members of the Knesset clearly who are passing this. There's no desire to back down on this dream of theirs of having complete sovereignty over all of the land and clearing the Palestinians off of it. And let me show you more examples of how we know this. And that is because they've already effectively annexed the West Bank. They're just not necessarily, they're not announcing it, and they're not necessarily marching the IDF in and having the IDF really stake the claim to the West Bank. They're instead using settlers. They're using settler violence, and the settlers are being protected by IDF soldiers. That is what has been going on over and over and over again in the West Bank throughout the years. Jasper Nathaniel is an American Jew who is in the West Bank documenting the settler violence, much of the settler violence. And this was put together by Amnesty International. I want to play for you this video. He's got a great video on his X account. I really recommend that you follow Jasper Nathaniel. He's been really showcasing some horrific video of what the settlers are doing, the violence that they're committing in the West Bank. In fact, he was even chased down and nearly killed by a mob of settlers that the IDF was protecting. The IDF actually brought him in, said to him and a group of farmers, Palestinian farmers, come with us. We've found a clear path outside of, these settlers won't get you. We found a clear path for you, so come with us. And they led them into an ambush of 100 settlers. And the IDF then, instead of protecting the American citizen, an American Jewish citizen, and Palestinian farmers, instead the IDF drove off in a hurry, obviously leading Jasper Nathaniel and the Palestinians into an ambush where they could have lost their lives. This is the piece that Amnesty International kind of edited this together. It's just a quick 1-minute a 1-minute video for you guys. But Jasper has a lot of video on his X account, and I really, it would be good to go and watch it. I mean, it's just horrific what's going on in the West Bank. And this is not Hamas, right? They don't have that excuse, but the Israelis are still doing this. Watch this.
Oh, come on. Don't fucking hit her. Hey. Oh, my. Hey. Hey. Hey.
See, look at right there. That guy is smashing people. He just hit this woman, beat her with this stick that he has.
Holy shit.
And he's out there.
Hey.
Look at what he's doing to this student or somebody with a backpack. And Jasper Nathaniel is documenting this. So Jasper went back to go get that woman, carried her into the car, and got her medical attention. She was in ICU. So right here, this video, Jasper is the one running from this car, running in front of the car. So he's in black running. This is the ambush that the IDF led him into. This was just a few days ago. The IDF led him into an ambush where violent settlers were trying to kill him and the Palestinian farmers. I mean, they could have lost their lives. I've never been to Gaza, but I have been to the West Bank. And when I was there, the extremism coming from settlers was out of this world. When I went in 2019, and it was when a lot of people here in the U.S. were talking about, oh, we've got this huge problem with racism and extremists, and all the people that were very anti-Trump, and they were talking about this nonstop. And you take one visit to the West Bank and you see the extremism, you hear the extremism coming from settlers, you see what they do, you see how they terrorize the Palestinians. We don't have anything remotely close to that type of extremism here in the United States. It honestly left me kind of like PTSD. I mean, I wouldn't go that far to say that, but it was definitely trauma. I mean, definitely feeling like this is the type of stuff I read in history books about Nazis and how they treated people. This isn't what I cannot believe that people would act like this. And many of the settlers were from Brooklyn. They were Americans from Brooklyn, and they were behaving this way. And it was the most shocking, abhorrent, eye-opening trip was going to the West Bank and seeing just the vast difference between the Israelis and the Palestinians. And but it's just really amazing for Jasper to be there. He's Jewish, living amongst the Palestinians, trying to protect them, documenting this and documenting the fact that settlers are getting away with this, and they're getting that help from the IDF. And that is what I witnessed as well. The IDF protects them. It's state-sponsored. This is why I'm saying they've already annexed the West Bank. It is already state-sponsored. Is the IDF actually doing it? No, they're using the settlers, but they protect the settlers. So what's the difference? I mean, if you're the person who hires the hitman, maybe you didn't commit the murder, but you're just as culpable. If you hired the hitman, if you orchestrated the hit, you're guilty. And that is what's gone on with Israel. They use the settlers as their hitmen, and then they're taking over the West Bank. These are the types of things that they're doing. And by the way, when Jasper Nathaniel messaged the U.S. Embassy and said, hey, I'm an American citizen, and I was attacked, and where can I get some protection here? The U.S. Embassy said, no. Sorry about that, we can't. The U.S. Embassy said, we've already told the Israelis that they plan to be out there again tomorrow. I'm friends with the mayor, Lafi, but then again, we told the Israelis yesterday that the villagers would be out there today. And Jasper says, well, we need American protection. We are Americans. And the embassy said, unfortunately, we simply can't do that. As much as I personally like to, we haven't gotten the manpower to protect the nearly 60,000 American Palestinians, and legally we're not permitted. So there are 60,000 American Palestinians in Palestine, and the U.S. government is just like, you know what? We can't do anything for you. Now, if you're American Israeli, we'll go to the ends of the earth. We'll supply 2,000-pound bombs. We'll just blow up babies on your behalf. But, those 60,000 Palestinian Americans, sorry, you're just, you don't have a big enough lobby. Then the embassy says, unfortunately, no, the protection of American citizens is always the responsibility of the host nation government, which is why we pull our embassies out of places that host nation can't or won't protect them, like Syria, Iran, Yemen, Venezuela, etc. So the U.S. Embassy is saying we pull our embassies out of nations where those nations refuse to protect our American citizens. So, that's why it's not our responsibility as the embassy, it's the host nation. Okay, well, Israel's not protecting these Americans. And so Jasper says, are you implying that the Israeli government will protect me and the other Americans here? I don't understand. The IDF led us directly into an ambush. And the U.S. Embassy said, that's what's supposed to happen, yes. Right, that's what's supposed to happen. Israel is supposed to protect you. Oh, but Israel's not going to. We should pull our embassy. What do we do instead? Oh, we just go ahead and we move it to Jerusalem. We give them whatever they want. I mean, this is just how taken over our government is. This is also something that the Israelis have been doing. Spewing in the West Bank. Look at this. This is like sewage water or skunk water. Spewing it all over the West Bank, all over a village in the West Bank. This is how they annex without annexing, without officially annexing. They just terrorize. They make life miserable. They protect settlers that beat older ladies. They go around and these are the types of things that they do. Let me show you this. This is another person who is in the West Bank right now. This is Jan Egeland, Secretary General of the Norwegian Refugee Council. He went and saw what the settlers had done to a Bedouin community.
So what we're seeing here in the distance is a Bedouin community that was torched to the ground by the illegal settler organizations that come from new settlements all over the place. These people are gone. They had their livelihoods here, their livestock. You see a number of structures that were torched and destroyed. And we just met with some of the people who now live in miserable container houses where they continue to be harassed by the settlers who are taking place after place, often on the top of small hills, where they control everything and expand their territory.
And the IDF protects them, and Israel turns a blind eye. So you see, Israel has already annexed the West Bank. They just use their henchmen to get it done for them. So the vote, I guess now, okay, now that we've talked about all of this, I guess we can agree with J.D. Vance in reality that yes, it turns out that it was a symbolic vote. The Knesset just had a symbolic vote of annexing the West Bank. It was just symbolic because they've already done it. Thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iverson show, which you can catch Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. It is free for you to watch. Again, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, KimIversonShow.com. See you there.